Like the Leafs have a whole collection
But
of
it
these
is
guys.
like a cloud following their goalies.
But not just their goalies. I mean, like Bobby McMahon disappears a lot and Connor Timmins disappears a lot at random times. Like they just have guys that are like,
Their captain went to Germany.
did he?
Yeah. So, you're right. Like we kind of talked about this before the season started, that a lot of the guys they brought in, go down the list even more. Pacioretty, Hockenpah.
Oh my God.
Like they really went with guys that have a lot of injury risk. And the two goalies, this was the conversation that we had the whole time. And it's kind of coming to fruition. You're right there, buddy. You got a little
Yeah, I
something
got a
here?
contact issue
Oh,
going on.
boy.
I'm going blind.
Oh, boy.
It's all right. We got like 20 minutes till commercial. I'll just blink.
Oh, my God.
Just blink it out.
Mashful Leafs.
What's that?
The Mashful Leafs. Mash.
MASH, the show. Was that like a army show?
Yeah.
Is that an army show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What? Listen, I'm not 60.
I am.
I know. Like, at least I know what it is.
Okay. All right. So, Joseph Wall, you like that number? 14 starts, did you say, in
Well,
how many games?
If say I'm saying there's 14 to 19 games in that window of time they
Yeah.
gave.
You give him
Yeah, I
a
mean,
dozen.
but I do think it's like you said with Stolarz. Like, let's see if he can play. That he doesn't have like this recurring one thing he's not able to deal with. And if he does, I think you need to be able to test it and find out if he can do it too. So yeah, I'm okay with him getting 2/3 of the starts over this time. And just kind of wait and see what you got.
Yes. So it's Dallas on Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday, back to back in Buffalo, and then back home to face the Islanders, who they play in. What was it?
They play the Islanders, so it's December 17th. Between now and January 2nd, they play them 3 times. So in the next 2 weeks, there's 3 Islanders games.
Weird quirk in the schedule there.
Stand by, the league's most thrilling team.
But I just, are you like talking about this week? You're worried about playing Stolarz and then 2 nights later playing him again and having him get injured. Are you going to play Wall on Wednesday and then on Friday? Like for me, I go Wall and then somebody else on that Friday night game, and then you give Wall the start at home against the Islanders.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful here, boys.
Yeah.
Like it's worth
it might be interesting if they give Hildeby and Murray games in the interest of spreading it all out a little bit. See what you can get out of these guys.
Yeah, their hands might be tied here to give Hildeby one more start. Maybe.
I mean, I don't think they're tied. I don't know what.
In terms
if he
of
somehow lost the third string role by
nobody liked the early goals on Hildeby
no
the other night.
I'd like to stop that because the Tuck one was a hell of a shot off. It just happened to follow a stinky one, so everyone's
short
like,
side stunk.
The short side stunk bad, really, really bad.
Yeah,
that was not good.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it lines up, but there's no question for Joseph Wall now to go into Dallas tomorrow night, and Dallas is considered a very good team and one that can challenge for a Stanley Cup. I know they had a hiccup last week. They lost a couple of games, and then they've rebounded a little bit here. They had a big win against Washington on Monday, but that one's going to be tomorrow night's going to be their first real test since Stolarz stole one for them in New Jersey. Yep. Like, say what you will about those, Buffalo and Ducks, please. This is this is the test. This is the smell test right here on Wall and company ready for the next challenge of these tougher games.
Because they stole one from the Devils, who outplayed them badly. Yeah. And then the other time, more recently, when they played a good team, was the Capitals, and they didn't play well against them.
But yeah, just like to kind of reiterate, I think you do have to be very, very careful with Wall.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth having, because you're first in the Atlantic. I know you're chasing the lead, but you're in a playoff spot pretty comfortably at this moment. It might be worth having a couple games of a little bit of subpar goaltending and see if your offense can kind of pick it up like they did against the Sabres. Mm-hmm. Because if you lose Wall, then it's panic mode. So just be careful with them.
Well, one thing they do have going to pick up the offense is they're going to start Nylander, Matthews and Marner, for the first time that I can remember, like starting a game with them. Am I out of my mind? Do you guys remember them starting a game together?
Very rarely.
Sport Logic, I actually asked this question and just got an answer. The last time the three of them started a
Bubble
game together
playoff?
in the regular season was February 13th, 2020.
Yeah.
So they haven't started as a line in 4 years.
Yeah, I think they did it in that bubble
Almost
playoff
5.
too. So
On the surface, you go, not too many lines that could show that type of talent, and it should.
Would you say none?
None.
Who can
that I
match
can
that?
think of.
let's listen to Berube talk about it because it's a really interesting quote.
Yeah, and I've used them time to time throughout the season in different situations in the offensive zone, but I thought they were good together. I thought they created a lot of good opportunities. I thought they, moved the puck around well. The issue is they got to get to the net too. They can't all be on the outside, wanting a puck and making plays. It's about doing things right, and we'll see how it goes.
So who's going to the net? 34?
I mean, what are we talking about, right? Like,
I don't know.
does someone
What's
have
he
to-
talking about?
Yeah, getting the inside, going to the net.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's Tavares. That's Pacioretty.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
Nyes.
but is there a level of skill and talent where they can break people down, make people miss, connect, and actually pass the puck and
Well,
make plays?
And you know how I've felt for a long time in terms of Leafs not looking as a team that could move the puck like we've seen others at the top of their game. And is this a first sign of putting all these talented guys together? Do we see crisp passing? Do we see give and goes? Do we see, everything that is associated with a top line when it comes to moving the puck? Or is it just feeding 34 off the side somewhere?
I don't know. I mean,
That's what I expect to see
them
out of the three of them.
feeding 34.
I want to I want to see puck movement. I want to see zipping it around. I want to see, if Marner and Willie use their edges and twists and turns, and I want to see all of that with the three of them.
Of course. I mean, this is their three most talented guys, and I would say, all three of them are in the top, 20 in the league, 25 in the league. Like, these are talented hockey players who think at an elite level and do elite things. And I think anytime you're defending that, it's a nightmare.
But I feel when you get these types of guys together, way too much passing sometimes. That it feels a little all-star gamey.
Yeah.
Where they all feel like they got to make the best player, the sexiest pass or whatever it is. I know you want to see them snap it around, but Willie's been great. One of the things he's improved the most, and you've talked about this for years, Borny, is him going to the front of the net and cutting across the net.
Yeah.
And you want to see him do that. Matthews can do that. And you want Marner to facilitate. I like the idea of it, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, first off, it's totally necessary just to see it because we never see it.
Well,
So
they
played 22 minutes together this season through 30 games. Shot attempts when they're out are 49-19, 24-7 in scoring chances, which is 66% of the expected goals.
Well, I would hope.
Yeah,
right?
but this thing is we need someone at the net. It's boy,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. So,
Well, I can tell you right now, third man high is Marner on this line.
yeah.
Because we know the other ones kind of have
What?
a
Nylander, I'll give you a cheat.
little bit of a cheat in their game. And Matthews, to me, part of the look that you're talking about that just isn't right is he's still kind of on a cheating side for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched it at the end of the second period in Detroit.
Detroit was bad too.
The people in the nosebleeds where I was sitting were not thrilled with that play. Let's just say that.
Leafs facing center crisis amid injuries, eyeing trade market for solutions. As the Toronto Maple Leafs battle through a growing injury list and a suspension, their lack of depth at the center position has become a glaring issue. According to Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman in his latest 32 Thoughts article, the Leafs are among the teams exploring trade options to bolster their lineup. This effort is coming amid increasing competition from teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and Nashville Predators, who have also set their sights on improving their center depth. Friedman didn't mince words about the Leafs' predicament. The teams currently focusing on centers, including Chicago and Nashville, must consider when others will enter the market. Toronto will undoubtedly be one of those teams, he wrote. While the Blackhawks and Predators may have an edge in terms of cap space and assets, the Leafs remain a team to watch as the season progresses. The Leafs situation is urgent, with up to 7 forwards currently unavailable due to injury or suspension. Ryan Reeves is serving a 5-game suspension, while key players like Auston Matthews, upper body, Matthew Knies, upper body, Kaje Jarnkrok, groin/sports hernia, David Kampf, lower body, Max Domi, lower body, and Max Pacioretty, lower body, are all sidelined. The team has even considered temporarily shifting Mitch Marner to the center position, highlighting the severity of their depth issues. This isn't just a short-term concern for the Leafs. Depth at center has been a persistent challenge for the team, and while stopgap solutions like Marner could help in the interim, the front office appears keen to explore longer-term fixes. For fans of the blue and white, this has been a recurring theme. The Leafs' center depth often becomes a problem at the worst possible times. James Myrtle of The Athletic recently added more fuel to the speculation, naming several potential trade targets who could help the Leafs address their issues. Among them is Ryan O'Reilly, a familiar name for Toronto fans. O'Reilly, who signed a 4-year, $18 million deal with Nashville in 2023, might be a trade candidate if the Predators' underwhelming start to the season, 6-11-3, 31st in the league, prompts a rebuild. However, his steep price tag and history with the Leafs, including rejecting a free agency offer less than 2 years ago, make this a complex and potentially unlikely move. Other names mentioned by Myrtle include former Leaf Nazem Kadri, currently with Calgary, as well as players like Michael Granlund, Nick Jugstad, Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Trent Frederick, Radek Faksa, and Sean Kuraly. While some of these options seem more plausible than others, it's clear that general manager Brad Treliving will need to get creative to find the right piece without mortgaging the team's future. Cap space remains one of the biggest obstacles for the Leafs. Unlike teams like Chicago and Nashville, which have more flexibility and assets, Toronto is walking a financial tightrope. As Friedman noted, competition will intensify as cap-constrained teams strive to create room. For the Leafs, that could mean waiting for the market to develop further, a risky move given their current needs. The situation also highlights the Leafs' ongoing struggle to build a roster that can withstand the grueling nature of an NHL season. Injuries are an inevitability in hockey, but Toronto's current predicament underscores the importance of depth, a quality the team has struggled to consistently maintain. Looking back on recent years, the Leafs have often leaned heavily on their star players, particularly Matthews, Marner, and William Nylander. While these players have delivered in spades, the lack of reliable depth options has left the team vulnerable in critical moments. The current crisis at center is merely the latest example of this recurring issue. Some fans have called for more aggressive moves from Treliving, arguing that now is the time to strike while the team's core is in its prime. Others, however, are more cautious, pointing to the dangers of overpaying for short-term fixes. Striking the right balance will be key, especially as the Leafs aim to keep their championship window open. Despite the challenges, there's no denying that Toronto has the talent to be a contender, provided they can patch up their lineup. The ongoing rumors and speculation surrounding potential trades show that the Leafs are at least exploring every avenue to strengthen their roster. For fans of the blue and white, this moment feels like a pivotal point in the season. With a lineup ravaged by injuries and a tough schedule ahead, the Leafs must act decisively to avoid falling behind in the standings. The addition of a dependable center could be the difference between weathering the storm or watching another season slip away. Whether it's O'Reilly, Kadri, or another surprise name, one thing is certain: the Leafs are under pressure to deliver. And for a fan base as passionate and loyal as Toronto's, there's no room for excuses. The time to act is now, and Leafs Nation is watching closely. As the trade deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Treliving pull off a move that solidifies the Leafs' status as a contender, or will the search for center depth become yet another chapter in the team's long history of what-ifs? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: it's never boring in Leafs land. As the Maple Leafs navigate this critical juncture, their fan base remains as vocal as ever. Toronto is a city that breathes hockey, and the pressure on Brad Treliving to make the right moves is immense. Every decision he makes or doesn't make will be scrutinized, from talk radio to social media, where Leafs Nation is already debating the merits of the various names being floated as potential trade targets. Among the louder debates is whether the team should prioritize a high-profile acquisition like Ryan O'Reilly or Nazem Kadri, or focus on a lower-cost, reliable center who can fill a supporting role without costing too many future assets. While O'Reilly's leadership and playoff experience make him an attractive option, his contract and recent history with the Leafs add layers of complexity to any potential reunion. Similarly, Kadri's gritty, two-way playstyle remains a fan favorite, but his cap hit and availability might render him an unrealistic target. Another factor complicating the Leafs situation is their tight salary cap. While Chicago and Nashville can make moves with relative ease due to their financial flexibility, Toronto must navigate a labyrinth of constraints to make any trade work. This likely means including salary retention or moving existing contracts to make room, which could drive up the cost of any potential deal. The question then becomes, how much are the Leafs willing to sacrifice to address their immediate needs? One potential trade partner generating buzz is the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, a dependable two-way center, has been mentioned as a possible target. Gourde's versatility and championship pedigree from his time with Tampa Bay make him an appealing option. Seattle, however, is in playoff contention and may not be inclined to part with a key piece unless the Leafs can provide a substantial return. Another intriguing name is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. Nelson is a consistent scorer and reliable faceoff-man, qualities that would undoubtedly bolster Toronto's center depth. However, the Islanders are notoriously cautious when it comes to trades, and prying Nelson away would likely require a significant package, including picks or prospects that the Leafs may be hesitant to part with. For all the trade talk, some analysts believe the solution might come from within. Sheldon Keefe has shown a willingness to experiment with his lineup, and players like Pontus Holmberg or Fraser Minton could be given an opportunity to step up. While relying on less experienced players carries risks, it might be the Leafs' only option if the trade market proves too costly or slow to develop. Adding to the Leafs' urgency is the timing. The Atlantic Division remains one of the toughest in the league, with teams like Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay continuing to dominate. Any prolonged slump could see Toronto slip further down the standings, putting their playoff hopes in jeopardy. For a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, failing to address their weaknesses could have catastrophic consequences. Brad Treliving's history as a general manager suggests he's not afraid to make bold moves. His time with the Calgary Flames was marked by blockbuster trades, including the acquisition of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in the Matthew Tkachuk deal. Leafs fans hope he brings that same decisiveness to Toronto, especially as the trade deadline looms. Beyond the immediate need for a center, this situation underscores a broader issue with the Leafs roster construction. Depth has been a perennial concern, and while Toronto boasts some of the league's top-end talent, their reliance on a handful of stars has left them vulnerable in moments like this. Moving forward, addressing this imbalance must be a priority for the front office if the team is to achieve sustained success. As the Leafs head into a critical stretch of the season, the next few weeks could define their trajectory.